My guests tonight are former Chelsea striker Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink and former Aston Villa boss Martin O'Neill. Welcome along, guys. First, though, to the mounting pressure on Ruben Amorim. Following last weekend's defeat in the Manchester derby, the club's co-owner, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, flew in for a meeting with his head coach yesterday. So, with scrutiny intensifying on Amorim's job, the question everyone wanted to ask today was, what was on the agenda?
New contract. He was offering me a new contract. And no, it's normal things just to show the support, explaining that is a long project. He said many times this is my first season. For me, it's not. But normal things. Spoke with him, with Omar, with Jason, just trying to see all the data around the team. So a normal meeting, and we had several. But in this moment, it's normal. People pay attention to that.
I mean, I understand you will appreciate the support, I'm sure, but you also know you do have to win matches, don't you?
Ah, that is, guys, this is football, and this is the club with more pressure maybe in the world. But we want to win. I think we are playing well until the boxes, defending and attacking. We need to be more aggressive in the boxes. We need to be more clinical. The rest, I think we are improving in comparing to last year. I think we are in the better place.
I find him fascinating, guys, watching Amorim speak. He is so good in those press conferences and even just the way he carries himself. And he's able to say there that he thinks that Man United, in his words, are in a better place. Martin, what would you say about that?
Well, results will tell otherwise. I think that you, as a manager, you want to see as many positives as possible, and you want to express them to people, even though you know people are not really listening. That's the point. And if you do think that there, then and you're not getting results, then the obvious question back again would be, but those are two very, very important areas. You're saying, you know, you're doing okay, but you can't score a goal, and you know
you can't defend.
You're not defending, but you're doing all right. So the cynic would say, well, isn't that not part of the game? Yeah. It is difficult, and I thought it was funny. He comes on and he was preparing himself there, obviously, for questions coming up about what was happening with that conversation with the owner of the football club or the co-owner, and he says a new contract, immediately laughing, and I bet you that set the boys back a little bit here. And it was funny, and it was really good. That was a nice remark, really, and the very fact that he could laugh at himself then. But when you're talking about the serious business of trying to win football games, he mentioned there, all managers are under pressure from day one. It wasn't like that there 100 years ago, but it is now. Under pressure immediately. So you have to get results, but you have to get results at Manchester United. You have to win football games, and it's the old adage, you've got to win.
Well, that's it. You know, mentioning results there, I want to show this picture because the actual record that United hold since Amorim has come in is the worst record of any ever-present Premier League side. So take a look at this here so you can see. So of ever-present teams in the Premier League, Manchester United there in 17th on 31 played, 31 points. Worse goal difference than Spurs there. I mean, Jimmy, when you look at that and you hear Amorim, you know, do these presses and say, you know, we're in a better place, we just can't do this and that. What do you think about it?
Look, he has to come out with something, and he has to come out with something positive. I understand why he's saying what he's saying, but if you have got problems in both boxes, you are in serious trouble. Yeah. On the other hand, it doesn't matter how you're winning games. You need to win games. It's better not to play well, but winning games. Yeah. So you need to find a way to win games, regardless. Yeah. If you're winning games ugly, you can always improve. But when you're not winning games, it's a big problem for whatever reasons. You can look at why they're not winning. You can say, are they creating enough? No, they're not. How many open chances are they creating? Not enough for a Man United side. How many chances are they getting against? A lot. Every game they're getting chances again, and they're playing with 5 at the back. You know, so when you're playing with 5 at the back, you want to keep clean sheets. That's basically what you're saying. We're going to keep a clean sheet today, and work from there. But they always get a goal against. It's a big problem. It's a big problem.
I will say this about Man United. I think obviously there's always going to be so much pressure. It's such a tough job being a Man United manager, you know, and that's always been the case. But when you look at the fixtures that they've had so far this season, okay, so they've had 4 Premier League fixtures. If you kind of take the Grimsby moment out of it, they've had Man United at home to Arsenal, and then they've had Fulham away. Burnley, they got the win as well. They had the draw at Fulham, and then they've lost to City. It's quite tough fixtures anyway. So, I mean, on those fixtures, can you really judge him on it?
Well, hopefully people are not just going to judge on 2 or 3 fixtures. You've just mentioned 31 there at this moment, and it's 31 points. That is difficult in itself. But you're not making those judgments on those particular games. And let me tell you, I don't think that you can, if you're Manchester United, I don't think you can look and say, well, these fixtures are tough.
Yeah.
They're all tough. And when you're not winning, the next match is tough. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
The Grimsby is important. The Grimsby is important as well. You know, you're not in Europe.
It's a good, it's a good point. So in other words, you need to get something going, even to win a trophy. Absolutely right. Yeah. So to get knocked out, but to get knocked out in the manner in which they did do, I mean, that's pretty poor.
So on that, why are they still keeping the faith? Why do you think, you know, they're so desperate, seemingly, to keep Amorim? Because that's what it feels like.
Well, again, why? It's not. They do have faith. This is the point, or they seemingly do have faith. And it's like anything else. You make a decision. If you're an owner of a football club and you've gone out of your way to get someone in, and you've spent a lot of money in bringing him into the football club, you want to give him every possibility. You know, they've spent some money. They've spent money on I think some really decent players. I think Cunha's a good player. I think and Mabuena's a good player as well too. But defensively, they're still open. So you know, if you were going to do it, if you thought about it, I mean, listen, every manager to their own. I only made 15,000 mistakes per day. What I'm saying is that go and try and strengthen defensively. If you're not conceding goals, you give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
You've got 1 or 2 players who will be able to create something for you. Maybe not as often as you want for a Manchester United side, but initially go and get as strong a defence as you possibly can. And even for a season, you know, win some matches 1-0. It's not the Manchester United way of Sir Alex Ferguson, but everybody has to try and start somewhere.
My problem with it is, he wants to play that kind of formation, but he's playing Shaw left side of a 3.
Yep.
That is not his strongest position. We all know that Shaw is the best at left back, going up and down. He's playing Euro right side of a 3. He used to play at his old club in a 4. He's playing De Ligt in the middle of a 3. De Ligt has been brought up at Ajax in a 4.
Yeah.
So my problem is all those players are really not really comfortable. Well, I'm not saying comfortable.
Not used to the system.
Not used to the system. So you need to give that time.
Yeah.
In football, we don't have time, you know. And that is a little bit, you know, my problem with it all.
Absolutely. Well, look, for more on Manchester United, we can speak live to ESPN's senior writer, Rob Dawson. Rob, thank you so much for joining us today, mate. You were there in the press conference with Ruben Amorim today. Did everyone really have a shock when he said that they were discussing a new contract for him?
Well, a little bit. I mean, I think it was just a way for Ruben to take the pressure off, because he will know exactly what was going to come when he turned up at the press conference. He knew that everyone knew about the meeting that he had with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox yesterday. Everyone obviously wants to know what that's about. He took the pressure off with a joke to start. He eventually got into the more serious stuff and kind of explaining that Sir Jim Ratcliffe told him that they've still got faith with him, that he's still got their backing, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe thinks this is a long-term project. It's not a kind of a short-term fix. Ultimately, though, Ruben Amorim knows better than anyone that doesn't mean anything unless he can start winning games, because that backing won't be there indefinitely. And he's the first one to say that. You know, the guys in the studio over there have said the same thing, that, you know, none of this really means anything unless Ruben Amorim can start winning games as United manager. And really, that needs to start against Chelsea at Old Trafford on Saturday.
Do you feel like, because this is, I guess, Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's their first real appointment as a Man United manager, do you feel like they have an extra pressure on them to make this work almost?
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of that. I think they will be desperate for this to work out. I mean, he is their first managerial appointment since they came in. You know, so Jim Radcliffe coming in, it was meant to spark this kind of new era at Man United, this new era of success, and they were hoping that Ruben Amorim would spearhead that. If they were to have to replace Amorim, ultimately you're probably taking quite a big step back. You know, Amorim's been given money to spend in the transfer window. They've signed players that he's wanted. If you were to bring another manager in, he would need more money then to bring his own players in. You'd have to revamp the squad again, and you're almost starting from scratch. So really, if you're Sir Jim Radcliffe, you're desperate for this to work out. But again, though, he knows that he can't just keep backing Ruben Amorim again and again and again. Ultimately, it's all just going to be decided by results on the pitch. You know, I think that Ruben handled the press conference very well today. He spoke really well. I think it's the right thing for Sir Jim Radcliffe to offer his backing in that meeting. But again, none of it means anything unless they can win games, because as Man United manager, Ruben Amorim is well aware that at the moment his record is just not good enough.
Does it feel as though it's that stubbornness around maybe the formation? The formation thing seems to come up every single week, especially here on this show. Do we feel like that stubbornness around the formation is the root of the problem, or is it far deeper than that?
I think a lot of fans will say that. You know, a lot of fans will be turning up to Old Trafford on Saturday desperate for Ruben Amorim to make a change from that 3-4-3 system and maybe go back to a back four. I mean, I think the counter argument to that is that a lot of these players struggled in a back four under Erik ten Hag. So when you look at it that way, you know, maybe it's not the system or the formation that's the biggest problem. You know, in defence of Ruben Amorim, he's been very, very clear that he's not going to change his system. He was successful in that system at Sporting Lisbon. It's the reason why he got the job at Man United. He's also hinted a little bit that maybe he thinks the window for him to be flexible with his system has been and gone. You know, perhaps you could have done it when they were really under the cosh at times last season, but he's had a full summer working with these players in a 3-4-3. And I think, you know, reading between the lines a little bit, that he thinks that if he was to change systems now, with a lot of pressure on the club, that the players may sort of look at that as a sign of weakness. I think right now that Ruben Amorim has just tried to keep the message as consistent as possible, keep to what he knows and what he's tried and tested, and hope that results start to come. I mean, he is seeing positives. There is positives there in some of the data if you look at it. But again, you know, that has to translate into results on the pitch, and at the moment they're not coming.
Yeah, the results aren't quite there. But the next three games, Chelsea, Brentford and Sunderland, are these the biggest games for Amorim in his career at United? Are these the decisive ones?
Yeah, I think they're going to be massive. You know, you've got Chelsea at home, then you've got Brentford away and Sunderland at home. You know, really any Man United team, with all due respect to those two teams, should be beating Brentford and Sunderland. If they were to win those three games, then the noise around Ruben Amorim and Man United dampens down a little bit. If those three games don't go well, there's a long international break after that game against Sunderland, and the pressure on Ruben Amorim, if those games haven't gone well, will be absolutely immense. The last three permanent managers at Man United, Erik ten Hag, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho, were all replaced in either November or December. We are getting to that time where if things aren't going well, the club will look to make a change. I think Ruben Amorim is just hoping that the signs of progress he is seeing starts to translate into more positive results, and we head into that October international break with the pressure off him a little bit. But he will know that right now, because results are what they are, that ultimately he's going game by game. It really is that precarious at the moment, that he needs to start with a win against Chelsea and then build on that with a win against Brentford, and then build on that with another positive result against Sunderland. That's where he is right now. He's only going to change this by winning football matches and generating some positive results.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rob Dawson there, speaking on Ruben Amorim and United, and what a game it is in prospect then. Plenty of work for United to do as they try to kick-start their season, but Chelsea have started well. It's live on Sky Sports Premier League and main event from 5 p.m. tomorrow evening.